Hello, welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Big Italy 42, talking today about the slate on DraftKings, and only a 6-game slate tonight. And as you're looking at starting pitchers, it's not pretty. There's a few guys to consider, a few guys that I'm looking at. You don't feel great about it tonight, especially on a 2-pitcher site like DraftKings. But in cash games, you're looking to minimize your damage, and in GPPs, you're looking for upside. And there's not a whole lot of upside tonight when you look at these pitchers. In fact, of pitchers who have pitched 20 or more innings, the highest strikeout rate of any pitcher on the board tonight is 19% for Garrett Richards, right around league average. Right below him, Tim Lincecum at 18.6. So, needless to say, those are two guys that you're really looking at here. And another unfortunate thing, nobody's a big, sizable favorite tonight. For instance, Garrett Richards, a minus 112 favorite, a 7-run total. He's the guy you're certainly looking at tonight at $8,900. He had a really bad start last time out, but this is a Rays team that's among the worst in the league against right-handed pitching, in the bottom 10. Very low team ISO, very low team WOBA. They're 296 WOBA, 129 ISO, striking out nearly 21% of the time. So, Garrett Richards, it's not a bad park for him either in Tropicana. So he's going to be a guy you're looking at. You don't feel great because he did implode in his last start. 2/3 of inning against the Yankees, 6 earned runs. He was pretty good before that. Faced this same Tampa Bay team in LA, or in Anaheim, I should say, and went 6 innings, striking out 4, 3 walks, 3 earned runs. His main concern is walks, as you've noticed if you're looking at his recent game logs. Over a 10% strikeout or walk rate at 10.3%. So it's a Rays team that doesn't walk a ton, but they walk about 7% of the time. So there's some risk, yes, but you're certainly looking at him. I think I slightly prefer Tim Lincecum tonight. As crazy as it sounds, that's what cash games have come to tonight. Tim Lincecum is actually a plus 107, slight dog, 7.5-run total here at Citi Field. And, this is a game where the Giants have been hitting the ball really well, more so off of righties than lefties, but they haven't faced a lot of lefties recently. I'll get to one guy in particular that absolutely matches lefties. I think you know where I'm going with that, but Tim Lincecum has a 221 WOBA allowed to left-handed batters, and with Lucas Duda, Curtis Granderson, guys like that in this lineup, that those are their bigger hitters. More so Lucas Duda, but we know Granderson can do some damage at times. And with Lincecum being so dominant against left-handed left-handed batters this season, I think that he's going to be probably my safest option for tonight's slate, $8,100. Other guys you can consider. You don't feel great about him. Got an 8.5-run total in Milwaukee. Tanner Roark, though, he's had his times where he's been pretty good over his last couple starts. He had went 6 innings, 2 earned runs at Cincinnati, 5 innings, 1 earned run against the Cubs, 5 2/3, 4 earned runs against the Cubs. Had 6 strikeouts in that one, though. So, this is a Milwaukee team that has struggled at times this season. They're still among the worst in the league against right-handed pitching. 293 WOBA allowed, 21.7% strikeout rate, just a 6.2% walk rate. So, with that being said, I don't think he's a bad option tonight. He's not a guy that you expect is going to give you a huge performance or pitch deep into a game, but certainly a guy that you feel isn't going to kill you tonight. And with very limited options at 5,400, I think that he's a risk I don't mind taking. A guy like Michael Lorenzen, 4,500, may look intriguing. He's had a couple okay starts. He's a guy that usually doesn't get hit too hard, but he isn't going to give you a great performance. He's not much of a strikeout pitcher. But this is a Cubs team that, as we know, strikes out a ton against right-handed pitching. They strike out 25.8%, the highest rate of anyone in the league. So if you're looking for an option, 4,500 for Michael Lorenzen at that cheap price tag. You hope he gets you 5 or 6 Ks, goes 5 innings. But I'm targeting this game pretty heavily with hitters because it is a high total. It is in Wrigley Field. A lot of factors going here. Only a 7.5-run total, though, which I think is interesting. But you got that crosswind again. Shouldn't matter a whole lot. The other side of that one, Sayoshi Wada. Same type of thing. I expect him to get hit, but he could get you some strikeouts. 24% strikeout rate so far in the young season. I don't really feel great about any of these other guys. Matt Garza, sometimes he has it, sometimes he's awful. I think he's an okay option at $7,000 against Washington tonight. Not a guy I'll be actively targeting, but if you need an alternative, I don't mind him. And then last, Wade Miley. It's a Baltimore team that I think it's a misconception that they're good against left-handed pitching. You've got guys like Adam Jones who have always been really good. Steve Pearce over the last few years was really good, but not so much this year. And outside of a negative performance against Texas, last 3 starts, 23, 21 and 25 fantasy points. Wade Miley at $6,600. Going to be my favorite tournament option tonight against the Baltimore team that is among the bottom half against left-handed pitching this season, and they've been striking out a ton over the past couple weeks. So I think he's the guy that I'm going to more often than not there in that middle range. Catcher, I want to just give you one name, but I'll give you a couple. Buster Posey is the guy I'll have in just about all of my lineups tonight, $4,100. Absolutely crushes left-handed pitching since the beginning of 2013. Well over a 200 ISO, nearly a 400 WOBA. This is a guy you want to play against left-handed pitching. John Neese has also gotten rocked by right-handed batters this season. 8 home runs allowed, 27 earned runs, and 49 a third, 378 WOBA allowed. I mean, I expect him to get hit tonight, and I expect him to get hit hard. So the Giants, one of my favorite teams to play tonight. Buster Posey leading the pack there. A couple other guys to consider. Miguel Montero against Michael Lorenzen. I was huge on him last night. He was on all of my teams. Had three hits in his 3-for-5 day. Last hit being a 3-run home run. Gotta love Miguel Montero here in this spot at home against the young pitcher in Lorenzen. He's only $3,100. If I'm not playing Posey, that's the way I'm going. If you have to have a cheap option, which I don't think you'll need to without expensive pitching options, Brian Pena, if he's in the lineup, 6 for 8 in his last 2 games. Not a guy with much power, but he's a good hitter, gets on base. 2,700 is your option there. First base, pick your side of Chicago at Cincinnati, or I should say other way around, Cincinnati at Chicago for first base. My favorite options, Anthony Rizzo, Joey Votto, 5,500 and 53 respectively. Votto and a lefty-lefty, more of the GPP play here, but he hits lefties very well. Anthony Rizzo hits everyone very well. I think he's your top option. He's priced like it. Adam Lind, another option against Tanner Roark. Lefty-righty matchup. We know Adam Lind has great numbers against righties throughout his career, so I think he's a fine option there if you're going to pay down just a little bit. David Ortiz at $3,900 is not a guy you feel great about, but really cheap price tag against a struggling Chris Tillman, so you don't mind that. I'm not touching Lucas Duda against Lincecum the way he's been pitching. It's been really tough. A guy that I'm going to mention at second base, I'll use this as my transition, Jeff Baker against the lefty and Chris Rusin. Should be in the lineup tonight. Should be batting cleanup. 5th at worst, $2,900. You can use him at first base. I think you need one of these top guys at first base, so I'll be playing him at second. It's going to be my cash game play, assuming he's in the lineup. $2,900 for him there. If I cannot afford him for whatever reason, if I decide to pay up, I should say, Dustin Pedroia once again. I was on him last night. On him once again tonight. $4,300 against Chris Tillman. Went 2 for 4 with a double last night. 12 fantasy points on DraftKings. He's $4,300. I love him tonight. I'm not going to pay almost $5K for D. Gordon outside of tournaments and lefty-lefty matchup. DJ LeMahieu's an interesting one at $4,200 against David Phelps. He's a guy who's actually been hitting the ball pretty well, even outside of Coors Field. 348 batting average this season. Nobody talks about the guy. I think he's in a fine spot tonight, especially to go low-owned. A few other guys to mention here. Jimmy Paredes at $3,800. If you're not playing Wade Miley, I think he's a fine option. And Danny Espinosa, $3,100 tonight against Matt Garza. I'm looking that way as well. Third base, better than last night. Still not great. Only a 6-game slate, of course, so limited options. Love Chris Bryant tonight. Love Todd Frazier. Both those guys, once again, going back to Wrigley Field. That total's low. I'm not exactly sure why. I know they have the crosswind, but both these guys have a ton of power. Frazier, especially against lefties. Bryant has shown more against righties than lefties in his young time in the majors, so I'm looking that way as well. LeMahieu's a guy you can also play at third. Manny Machado, of course, always in play if you're not playing Wade Miley. And then other options down here. This guy I'll be playing more at shortstop, of course. Aiden Hechavarria at $3,800 has great numbers against lefties this season. Obviously not much power. He's a slap hitter, but he's got speed, gets on base, he scores runs. I do think that Miami will get to Chris Rusin a little bit tonight. And then if you're not playing Garrett Richards, Evan Longoria, you prefer him against lefty, but $3,500 tonight is a great price for him. Last guy up here, cheap guy, Brock Holt, $3,200. This guy is hot right now, and no one's talking about him. 2 hits and a double last night, double the time before, 2 hits the game before that. I mean, he's either getting 2 hits or an extra base hit every game. $3,200 is a great price for him if you need to save some money. Shortstop. This guy also has second base eligibility. This is assuming Brandon Phillips is not back tonight. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing or not. Ivan DeJesus Jr., $2,400. All he's done since being called up in 3 starts is hit 2 home runs and a double among his 4 hits. He's obviously not a guy that you're expecting a home run out of every time, but he's got big upside at $2,400. Great price for him. Ruben Tejada, if you're not playing Lincecum, $2,800, not a bad option. Third base, shortstop eligibility there. Yunel Escobar, $3,500 against Matt Garza. Another guy with not much power, but he's a good hitter, batting .325 in the season. Can certainly get something out of him. And Ian Desmond in Milwaukee, $3,900 against Matt Garza. Gotta like him. But for my money, I'm going to be getting myself some Hanley Ramirez or Troy Tulowitzki if I can. Should be easy to pay for these guys tonight with these cheap pitching options. Tulo priced out almost $6,000, $5,900, despite being away from Coors, but really starting to heat up. So you're playing tournaments tonight, and you probably are on this slate. Got to get yourself some Troy Tulowitzki. As we move to the outfield, DraftKings is on the same type of thinking with me tonight, and that's with Giancarlo Stanton being your top overall hitter tonight. $5,800 against Chris Rusin at home. Anytime he faces a lefty, he's an elite option. Up to 21 homers on the season now. Last time he faced a lefty was at the Rogers Center. Hit 2 home runs in that game. Obviously one off the bullpen, but gotta love him tonight. Bryce Harper against Garza, certainly in play at Miller Park. $5,700, but I still prefer Stanton if I'm paying. Trout, of course, in play against Alex Colome as well. I talked about Dexter Fowler last night. He had a great game. Should be leading off once again tonight. $4,700 against Michael Lorenzen, who looks like he's been effective, and he hasn't been bad, but I don't have a lot of faith in him. Loving Dexter Fowler tonight. Carlos Gonzalez. I think all these Karaki's bats will go on their own because they are still pricey and they're away from Coors. I think that's a mistake. Carlos Gonzalez really been turning it on. And David Phelps struggled over his past few starts. He's given up a 308 WOBA to lefties, so he hasn't been terrible this season, but I like Carlos Gonzalez quite a bit here. Other options you can look at, Marcelo Ozuna went yard last night, late, $4,300. He's certainly a tournament option for you. Denard Span, $4,200 against Matt Garza. Love him tonight. When you're looking for cheaper options, already mentioned I'm not touching Curtis Granderson. If Joey Butler's in the lineup, I think he's a good tournament option because Richards will be highly owned. Chris Coughlin had another big game last night. Hit a homer with 3 RBIs. He's got 8 on the season. He gets a righty now tonight in Michael Lorenzen. I think he's in play. Same thing with Kevin Kiermaier. He's also in play. Brock Holt, if you didn't want to play him at third base, you could play him in the outfield. I think third base is thin enough that I much prefer him there, but that's up to you what you want to do with that. And with that, one more cheap guy, Justin Maxwell. Not only does he have an incredible first name, but he's got big-time upside, $2,700. Hits lefties very well. Tonight he gets John Neese, who struggles with righties. So a lot going in his favor tonight. And with that, that's going to wrap things up here for the DraftKings Daily Chat. Follow us on Twitter at DF Cafe and subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out all of our great content for tonight's slate and every other slate, dailyfantasycafe.com.